And Hawkesbury campus, just to know that international students who graduate from our regional campus of Hawkesbury can apply for a second temporary graduate visa, which is subclass 485 in an extra year of postgraduate study. So they do need to study at the campus and complete their bachelor degree or higher qualification, and they will be able to spend an extra year. So that's being classified as an extra, a regional campus. Parramatta South, which is our main campus, is a combination of heritage and contemporary buildings. They do obviously cover most of our programs, and it's basically, it's basically one of our two campuses located in Parramatta. We do have a campus in the city, so located in the heart of Sydney CBD. It does have obviously a high-tech campus, more classes, more personalized. We do cover more of the pathway programs and also some of our degree and masters. Penrith is renowned for its state-of-the-art, really focus a lot more on infrastructure engineering, more mechatronics engineering programs, and a lot of our and also some of our psychology. Liverpool campus, reasonably new, in the heart of Liverpool CBD. It's purposely built vertical campus, and it's also located, in terms of providing a lot of our reasonably our programs in health sciences. We do run our nursing program and clinical practical units, and also a lot of some of our programs that are located basically around, obviously health sector, health areas, and also business areas. So some of our programs are already been built in, and it's reasonably new and really technology advanced building. Student support, we do focus, as I mentioned to you, in providing our students with as much as we can. We do provide airport pickups, counseling services, very student central. We do have mentorship programs and offered, and also, as mentioned today to you, in terms of our transportation, very efficient. We do provide, obviously, a lot of our campuses have, obviously, public transport, buses, and most of our campuses are located within close proximity to our train stations. Accommodation affordable. When we talk about affordability, this is great because of the fact that we do provide most of our campuses on-campus accommodation, and actually quite reasonable in the pricing. So it starts around $150, $200 mark and goes up depending on the obviously structure of the bedrooms that you have. You choose twin bedrooms, apartment styles, and they're all self-contained. We do have partners in Vietnam, so we're working very closely with a number of partners. ISB-UEH is one of them. So a lot of our students, and this is run business programs, fully licensed business programs are run, and also an MBA. So students can actually do part of their degree in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh ISB, and also with a number of other institutions, and can complete that, and either complete with ISB, they can complete a full delivery of business, or they can do it partly in Australia and Vietnam. So we do have international existing partners, not only in Vietnam, but also across the globe. Our response to COVID, our teaching basically is online. At the moment, we do teach online, as most universities would do, because the borders are not open as yet. So all classes are delivered live online with recorded classes for revision. At the moment, we are bringing in an S3 intake. So S3 intake meaning we have some programs, quite a number of our key programs we are teaching online. And if it opens up, then if borders open, then we also possibly could open. We're hoping by late November it open. Not sure that will happen, but at the moment we have, and I'll go through a bit more about the S3 intake in a minute. But basically, we do have contribute, obviously providing students with the opportunity to keep studying with us while prior to, obviously the borders being open. So the schools are providing extra support with online mentor sessions and obviously with industry mentor seminars. At the moment, the feedback has been really good and it's been very positive. Why students choose to start studying with us now? You get to start your study plans without any delay. The sooner you embark on your degree journey, obviously sooner you'll graduate. It's also modern digital learning. So we are a very innovative university, very digital focused. We have communication platforms and obviously learning facilities to allow easy communication, obviously between teachers. We do provide as much support as we can, and we also, it's the comfort of your own home. You can still continue studying. So the S3 intake, you can do it offshore. You can do up to 2 units. We do give scholarships and reduced. We did have a 10% reduction in terms of fees for S2, and at the moment for S3, which is late November, we are giving scholarships also included in terms of that. So that also, in terms of cost, it has helped. So we do have a comprehensive array of programs, and just to really, before I go into the programs, I just want to talk a little bit about the structure and the schools. We do have 3 pathway providers. The academic pathway, the English programs, and also to the international college, to the college, and also to work very closely with Navitas. So the Sydney City campus is fully run by Navitas. Then we also do have our own college, which is the college, which is 100% owned by the university, and also the international college, which runs most of our academic programs from foundation to diploma. They are part Navitas and part owned by the university. So we do have many options in terms of pathway, and as also mentioned to you, we do have international partners that students can actually do study and continue their pathway to the articulation through our university. There are 13 schools, and we do have comprehensive range of programs that covers from these schools. So stemming from business, built environment, engineering, data, education, health sciences. I'll go through a little bit more on each, try and cover as much as I can in terms of some of these key programs. As I mentioned to you, we do have, most of our programs are accredited. 25 of our 30 key programs all have full accreditation, and some of them are really well noted in terms of ranking, subject ranking, and also has quite a number of accreditation within the program. So our top undergraduate programs covers business, accounting, nursing. Nursing we do rank really well. I'll go through a little bit more about that in a minute. Teaching, engineering. Engineering, we do cover certain programs that we specialize in and really focus on. Information and communication technology. And within information communication technology, we have specializations. And also in terms of very niche, but very employable and very, we call it jobs of the future, programs that really cater to that. Postgraduate, MBA. So we have a coverage of quite a number of specializations within the MBA. Accounting, analytics, finance, teaching, social work, project management. Project management is one of our really good programs that are upcoming in terms of program interests because it covers really good specializations within the mainframe. Social work and also psychotherapy and counseling. That's another one that's also gaining some interest. Nursing. So nursing, basically ranked really well. Subject ranking, in some rankings, we're doing extremely well. Obviously with Center of World University ranking, we're number 4 in the world, top in Australia. In QS, we're in top 100 in the world. So it depends on the surveys. Some we do extremely well, some are doing really well, but it depends on that. So we're generally in the top 100 in the world. Very clinical practice, very focused on obviously internships, integrate learning. So design around, obviously contemporary hospital wards and settings, and, obviously teaching and practice has been integrated within the program, and it's made it really well regarded. So throughout your nursing degree, you'll get practical. So from year 1 itself, you'll get practical experience between a 4 to 6 week block. And that includes up to 800 hours of off-campus clinical practice experience. So that's really, and that's the focus, as I mentioned to you. A lot of our programs are integrated with work, practical skills to get students ready on completion of the degree. So we have that theory and practice. Bachelor of Nursing, if someone who's got a degree or diploma in a local nursing degree, a diploma or registered nurse, they can do it in a pathway. We call it a graduate entry pathway. It is 2 years, and quite a number of our nursing programs do have quite a number of places that covers up to 4 campuses. So Campbelltown, Hawkesbury, Parramatta, Liverpool. It is a 2-year program. It is NMAC accredited, and also an MBA, so which is also the another accreditation under the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia. We do also have a 3-year program. It's reasonable in cost. The 3-year program is only 30,000, and also nursing. We've never had a scholarship before, but we are offering from 2021 a $3,000 and $6,000 scholarship, which is really, really good. For a highly ranked nursing program with scholarship, it's actually, quite good. Well, good, actually, it's really good. We do have a Master's of Nursing, 1.5 years, and we also have the Master of Nursing 1 year pathway. So this is mainly for students who are not looking for registration, but really wanting to upskill and get into certain really areas that they want to focus on, and that can be, can be around certain areas of specializing in midwifery, leadership, kind of areas. So that it's basically for students who've completed health-related sciences program. So most of these science programs can get into the Master of Nursing. Strong, really good development in terms of employment demand and also career opportunities. As you can see on your left, quite a number of areas you can look at, and it's growing. It's growing in demand, and it's also growing in terms of really good earning capability. Health sciences, professional accreditation, industry placements, 280 hours, and we have a Bachelor of Health Sciences, Master of Health Sciences, and also Master of Public Health. So we have it in 2 years. That's something that that is also getting some interest, especially for students who basically are interested in nursing but can't get in. We do know that in terms of nursing, we do have a higher IELTS band now that in terms of APRA, they are looking at a minimum of 7 in all bands for nursing from this year, basically. So you need to have from 2021, you need to have a 7 in all band. So a lot of students are looking at a Master of Public Health as an option if they don't meet minimum English band into nursing. Business obviously is really popular in Vietnam. So we are based in terms of employee satisfaction. We're doing really well. It is in the heart of the business district. We do have the triple star accreditation. It includes placement, community-based practical experience. In terms of engagement, network, you can see we do work with a bountiful of companies, and we do have a really good array of network that we work with. Bachelor of Accounting, we do have it in 3 years, and also in terms of business, we do have a number of specializations. So the flexibility of being able to choose between money, markets, and management. So we kind of categorize it in 3 different areas. So if you're looking at money, you're looking around accounting, finance, economics, property. We do really well in property. It is one of our strongest business programs, and obviously in terms of accreditation, we've got 6 out of 7 accreditation around property with the API, which is the Australian Property Institute. So we're doing really well in terms of that. It's one of our, as I said, one of our strongest specialization, but we do also have it in hospitality management, international, so it covers most areas of business and also management. So in terms of MBA, also quite a number of areas that you could look at. Some of the ones that we obviously become post-COVID will be more in demand. Areas like analytics, anything to do with, obviously measure and assessment and analyzing will become, obviously something that a lot of employers are looking for. So analytics is probably something that we have it in the master's level. We actually don't have it in the business level yet, but we are looking at that in the future. Property, a really good note also is logistic and supply chain management. So that's another thing that's also, you could do it in terms of specialization. Digital knowledge, innovation, and also entrepreneurship and innovation. So that's kind of areas. We do cover quite a number of areas. We also have the Masters of Professional Accounting and also Analytics. So we do have the Masters of Property. This is actually, in certain countries, we're getting a lot of demand. So property of Masters of Property Investment Development, we can do it in a year and a half, 2 years. Obviously the exemptions you get, it will depend on obviously a cognate. So if you have a degree around property, you possibly can apply for exemptions, and also based on experience. So that could reduce your duration of study. But generally, it's a 2-year program. The other thing I was mentioned about our masters is, especially businesses, the flexibility in terms of, obviously choice of intakes. So we do have 4 intakes: January, April, June, and September. Also note fee structure reasonable. It's around 31,000. That does not include scholarships, and we do, as I'll talk a bit about scholarship later, that could reduce your, obviously your fee even more. It is accredited by the Australian Property Institute, and it is one of, in terms of postgraduate, it's one of our, of only 2 universities in postgraduate programs in Australia that has 6 out of 7 certifications, which is really good in terms of accreditation. So future jobs, I'll put that in mainly because of the fact that a lot of employability in terms of technology programs. All our top programs are accredited by the Australian Computer Society, which is ACS. It is gain access to, obviously, industry learning, leading facilities. And we're the only university in Sydney to offer a degree in Information and Communication Technology in the area of Health Information Management. So the MICT programs are 2 to 2.5 years. We do have it also in the graduate cert and grad dip programs, and we also have an area in information governance, which is 2 years, which is a very niche kind of program. The MICT covers a number of specializations. It does cover artificial intelligence, which has just recently been added into the specialization. We do cover cybersecurity, data analytics, health informatics, management, networking, space science, also another recent addition, and also around web and community. And these are areas that are going to be high in demand in terms of employability. So in terms of opportunities, you get jobs quite a number of areas. You can, in terms of being a web developer, artificial intelligence developer, ICT security specialist. So quite a number of areas you can look at in terms of opportunities. Master of Data Science. This is something that we feel it's going to be out there in terms of demand and that's mainly because of the fact that with post-COVID, a lot of the areas that we're looking at, a lot of employers are looking at is around these areas, and these are areas that I'm going to touch a little bit more upon. So the Master of Data Science and the Masters of Artificial Intelligence. These are 2 programs that was recently added into, and it's just offered from last, I think this year. So it's a recent addition, and not only a specialization, but a degree by itself. So what is data science? Data is being generated and collected by most businesses, government, so everyone collects data. It is a process of converting data into information. And the relation between data and also AI is kind of integrated. Really, as you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly, but in terms of, this is the jobs of the future. These are areas that we think it's going to grow even more. And a lot of articles have been written about it. This is some of the things that we've taken, being the sexist job of the 21st century. So everyone wants to be friends with a data scientist. So data science is a perfect complement to any discipline. So you can come in with any discipline. We do have it in, if you've done a degree, you can actually do a top-up data science degree. That's an extra year. And so Western Sydney University data science degrees have been designed for both standalone and also partner with other degrees. So if you've got a degree, and if you've got students that got a degree and they want to look at getting a bachelor of data science, they can do it in 1 year. So you can call it under top-up, or they can do it on a standalone 3-year degree. So the master's degree is 2 years. It's built on top of a bachelor degree from any discipline. So this allows students to apply for data science theory and methods to any field of choice. So the flexibility in doing that. So uniqueness is, covers around statistics, mathematics, and and also around, it does have a very strong practical base. And it's and now I'm going to touch a little bit about artificial intelligence, and then I'll go ahead with the AR programs. So artificial intelligence is just, as I mentioned to you, just brought in under specialization under our degree, under information communication technology, and also we do have it under the Master of Artificial Intelligence, AI. So it is, it's going to create, this is the hub, this is the buzz. this is, you know, creating lots of jobs in the future. It is the jobs of the future, and that's something that we're gonna see a lot more interest in the coming years. It's something to talk about. There are not many universities in Australia. I think it's a handful that do offer this at the moment. So career futures, you know, so many different so many areas you can look at. And the structure, these are the structure of the programs, 2 years. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit more mathematics. We're bringing a Bachelor of Mathematics next year. And also in terms of information systems. So if you can see the ICT programs, the specializations covers cybersecurity, covers networking, it covers entertainment computing, and also very niche areas like health informatics. Really well known in terms of cyber. We've got some educators have won awards, and this is in 2015, 2018. The director of, and we also do well in information systems. Why cybersecurity behavior? So it's basically analyzing technicals. This is a new program. This is the Bachelor of Cybersecurity and Behavior. We're the only university in Australia that has this program. It really covers the technical aspects and also the human side aspects, so the psychological aspects of security. So it is, you know, obviously mobile, cloud, around the ethical hacking facilities. Really getting a lot of interest. If you're looking at working around both the technical and the psychological, the social sciences kind of aspect. Really interesting program. And as I mentioned, we are the only university that has that in Australia. So careers in cybersecurity behavior, mentioned that in terms of opportunities, and we work really top-notch industry partners. So strong growth of employment demand around computing and data in summary. I just put this up basically to showcase some of the opportunities in terms of job, because I've been doing a future employment opportunities in Australia, and as I say, if you can see it clearly, it's 246 jobs at the moment in Australia, and a lot of them are coming around New South Wales, which is basically where, as I mentioned, your business hub in Sydney. So New South Wales generally takes a big portion of opportunities for work, and as you can see, this is just some of the the median salary and also the number of jobs that are offered in Australia for these kind of employment for. So engineering is we do specialize in certain areas. Civil engineering is probably one of our top in terms of ranking. So we're in the top 75 in civil engineering and top 150 in electrical and electronics engineering. We did recently collaborate with University of New South Wales to develop a world-class engineering innovation hub in Parramatta. We do, in terms of industry, working with partners. These are our programs, engineering, masters, and also we do cover also 1-year programs and 2-year programs. So our engineering programs are 4 years. They're all accredited and really good in terms of stronger in terms of employment demand. Teaching, we do really well. We do offer both bachelor level and also the master's level, and also in terms of accreditation. So we're covered by the NESA and obviously ACECQA, which is basically the main accreditation for teaching in education in Australia. Top 10 education faculty in Australia. We cover early childhood, primary, secondary. Early childhood and secondary are basically in the post-working visa. So we tend to get a lot more demand around early childhood and secondary particularly. So in English, we do have an English pathway. The English level of teaching is higher, it's 7.5. So we do give students the opportunity, if they can't meet that, to a pathway to provide them to reach that mark based on the higher level of English. So the Bachelor of Arts pathway to teaching, we do have it in the Masters of Teaching. And it's a little bit more because we do cover a little bit more of specialization from birth to 5 and also birth to 12 years old. So the Master of Teaching, primary and secondary, is also 2 years. Opportunity, stronger in demand. Social work. Social work is also one of our really good, interesting top programs in terms of students looking at employment opportunities after completion of degree. This is a program that is of interest. Top 150 university for sociology accredited under ASW, and also really strong in terms of placement of field placements over 1,000 hours. So Bachelor of Social Work 4 years, the Master of Social Work 2 years, and also we do have a postgraduate bridging. So that we can get in directly with the Master of Social Work. It is reasonable, as you can see, the fee structure is only $26,000 a year, and that does not include, it does not include scholarships, which brings down quite a bit. So the admission requirements are basically very straightforward. If you're in a area of health, education, and if you have some psychology subjects, you can come in directly, which is up to 2 years. If you can't, then you do it through a pathway, which is an extra 6 months. Career opportunities, built environment. Our built environment is strong, really strong in terms of employability. 91% of our employed within 4 months after graduation, and we do cover one of the largest construction management program in Australia. 1,200 hours of industry experience, and very flexibility in terms of timetables, and also job openings over the next decade, especially particularly around the Greater Western region. We do have programs in construction management, and we do have the Masters of Project Management, which is 2 years. So built environment, strong, as mentioned, strong growth in employment demand, and quite a number of areas you can look at in terms of construction, from project managers to construction managers to IT managers. So entry requirements and fees. The admission entry requirements generally for nursing generally for all bachelor programs are 3 years, and we have a 2-year full-time master's program. So I'm going to cover a little bit more about Vietnam in a minute, but this just gives you a generic overview of the minimum entry point into your degree, directly into degree. So if you have anything less than that, you will you obviously need to do pathway. So the pathway diploma and foundation. So the IELTS minimum IELTS requirement is generally 6.5. For masters, you generally need to have a completely recognized degree. In most there are some exceptions, but most of the time it's just completion of a recognized undergraduate degree. So there are exceptions in terms of English. So the general benchmark is 6.5. Master of Nursing, this is based on the registration for nursing. You need to have a minimum of 7 or bands. Master Teaching has a little bit more higher, 7.5. Social Work is a 7. Doctor Medicine, Psychology, generally a 7. But the rest of most of the other programs are 6.5. Foundation, you need to have a minimum of 5.5, and Diploma of Nursing. Diploma is a 6. So the entry requirements for Western Sydney undergraduate programs for Vietnam specifically, as this is just as of this year. I mean, we've made some changes, and how we cover it is through gifted schools and also directly through all schools. So 2020 October intake. The year 12 results, we need to have a minimum for selected high schools, a minimum of 7.5 to get in directly. So anything less than that will have to go through a pathway program, one of our pathway partners. So for all other schools, it's a minimum of an 8. So Western Sydney programs require high ATAR for certain programs, for example, like medicine, occupational therapy. So there are certain programs that have exceptions to that rule. We do an equivalent table, and that states like gifted schools, if you have an 8, you're looking at around an ATAR of 80, or for all schools, an ATAR of 75. So that's how we work out in terms of comparison. So S3 intake, we're having an S3 intake in late November. So that's obviously we have a deadline as by the 24th of November to send applications in. It is a subject load of minimum of 2 units. You can do it if the borders open. You can do it. You can come to Australia, apply for your visa, and you can do it full time. Or at the moment, it doesn't look likely, so it's very likely to be online under a delivery online mode. The degree programs cover quite a number of areas. So our main key programs, business, engineering, IT. So most of that kind of programs are offered within the S3 intake. So this basically, it's like a last resort. Students who are looking at just completing a high school degree and they don't want to wait and they want to do an online delivery program before the end of the year and can still complete 2 subjects. It is also concurrently giving more scholarships for the S3 intake. We're giving a little bit more than what we're giving for 2021, the 5,000 and 7,500. And obviously that will help enable that to bring the fees down for the coming years. It's multi-year, so our scholarships are all multi-year. So 2021 scholarships, we do 50%, and we also do 3,000 and 6,000. For this is specifically 2021. I'll go through a little bit more about that in terms of Vietnam specific. So basically, all students applying for the undergraduate, including nursing, will get a $3,000 scholarship. So that's automatic. So once you submit an offer letter, you will get a $3,000 scholarship. The $6,000 scholarship multi-year is a minimum of IB of 28 and minimum ATAR. So how it works with Vietnam specific is there's literally, if you meet the minimum entry directly, you get the $3,000. So if you're looking at a 6,000, which is a little bit higher, that is based on your GPA. So a minimum of 8 out of 10, you'll get the $6,000 scholarship. So that is for high schools. So the 6,000 is based on academic merit. The 3,000 is automatic. So the gifted schools, 6,000 is 8. The all other schools are 8.5. That's the minimum for the $6,000 scholarship, and 3,000 all everyone gets it. So now the postgraduate, we made it really interesting for the postgraduate. So we are offering 14 postgraduate programs that you get automatically $6,000. So if you look at, for example, let me just pick one, analytics. Analytics is around $31,000 mark. So you're going to get $6,000 off that. So that brings it down to around the $24,000 mark fees per year. And that's multi-year. So these are 14 programs that we are really pushing a little bit harder in terms of, and we're giving automatic scholarships for these 14 programs. The cutoff are generally 3,000. So basically, out of the 14 programs, any other programs outside that, you do need to provide us with a minimum GPA. So, and we've given a specific GPA of 4.4 for 3,000 and 5.25 for 6,000. Yeah. So the scholarship cutoffs, we are also offering 50%. So 50% is obviously high merit students, and those on a ATAR of 95 would be eligible to get the 50% scholarship multi-year too. And the postgraduates is 6.5 out of 7 in terms of scaling. I do want to bring it up to in terms of a virtual fair. So we are putting together a virtual fair this October. And if you can look at the website, or just type in Google International Virtual Fair for Western Sydney. What we're doing is we are showcasing all our schools. We're putting panel speakers. It's really good for if you're an agent, you want to learn a lot more about certain specific programs. You want to learn a little bit about the employability in terms of future of jobs. There's panel discussions happening. There's master classes. We're doing master classes in nursing and engineering. We are also having parent-student sessions. So students, parents who want to learn a little bit more about, in terms of our student experience, in terms of facilities, in terms of accommodation, we're putting that. So we have 27 sessions that we are offering in terms of these virtual fairs. And I do really recommend that you attend some of these because it will really give you a little bit more knowledge, especially with the, in terms of what we offer. Western Sydney is young. It is growing in terms of ranking. It is got really generous scholarships. Our price point is mid-range, really affordable in terms of the Western region, in terms of living cost. It is a growing in terms of development activities around the Western region. We're a growing university. We've got around 45,000 students. We've got around almost 7,000 international students. Very diverse in terms of our multiculturalism, in terms of internationalized university. We one of the most internationalized universities in Australia, and also we are located in one of the fastest growing developing cities in Australia, economy-wise. So it's a great university. I'm privileged to work in a great university like this. It is something that I think will do much more in the coming future, and I think students will be and the array of comprehensive programs we offer, really focusing on on the employment factor, which is what students want. They want to be investing into a degree that will get a great outcome, and that's where we come in. That's where we sit in. We sit in a great location. We're sitting in a young university, innovative university, and we're going to grow even further. And that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Ian, for your great sharing today. So before we allow in some question coming from our participants, I would like to have a few questions for you. Like first of all, thank you very much. So do you think for Vietnamese students, which faculty do you reckon that is most popular amongst the Vietnamese students?
I think Ivy, it depends though. Things are going to change, I think, in post-pandemic. So I think a lot of students are moving more towards technology. Business has always been the mainframe. Everyone has always been coming to most universities and requesting for business. But I think, and that's why I kind of focus on certain programs that I think would be something that students will be looking at in the future.
Yeah.
So if you cover health science, if you cover around health, obviously nursing, public health, medicine will still be programs of interest. Sociology part, social work, psychotherapy and counseling. If you're looking at, obviously business, generally most would be looking around, probably looking around the niche areas now, more towards emerging areas in business practice. And that could be analytics. If you're looking at technology, for example, security, cybersecurity. And within cybersecurity now, we bring the element of psychology into it. So we have the Bachelor of Psychology, Cybersecurity and Behavior. So it really depends now. I think students will be looking at doing a lot more research, and they'll also be always looking at one thing, the employment factor. What do I get out of this? What are to get out of the jobs, and what are the programs I'm going to study in? And that is something that I think would possibly change. I don't know how it's going to be, but I think that's where we're looking at in terms of the future. Yeah, because I see that there's a lot of trends that it was like completely changed because of the pandemic. So most of it is now working online. So all the platform, like the people working based on like the online platform is tremendously changed because of the pandemic. In terms of the next intake, which is in March for next year, do you have any updates that you think might be valuable to bring up for our students or our agents here who are still having students that considering whether studying online now or wait until further announcement from the government? Because there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, we don't know. I mean, like today, for example, we just heard news that they are looking at opening up to the non-territory students coming in from Singapore to Darwin. There are a lot of talks about opening up the borders, but what we are doing is we're preparing our students to be ready. So we're offering online courses, and a lot of the online courses, the feedback has been very positive. So, and hence that's one of the reasons why we're looking at doing the S3 intake. So the S3 intake is where you could do 2 subjects. You could reduce your fees notably and also get the scholarships, a bigger scholarship, because we still are trying to persuade students to look at, getting into studying mode, but, probably taking that track, that blended kind of learning first, initially taking that step and doing the online. And then when the borders open, and it will open a matter of time, the students will be able to come straight in, apply for the visa and come straight into Australia. So we feel the blended mode kind of level at the moment, where you do it online, and then once face-to-face happens, it's an easier transition. Everything is ready. They already started studying. They reduce their subject areas by 2. Or continue studying until borders open. I think that's where most of the universities are looking at. It's getting students ready to a hybrid platform, and then eventually face-to-face.
Yeah. Is there any maximum of units that the student can take online?
We generally look at 2 subjects, 2 units, and that's the general norm. We don't want to do more than 2, and the 2 subjects would be sufficient enough. So generally, we'd say 1 or 2 units.
Yeah, yeah. So we have one question from David. He said that he has a student studying in Ndis, Singapore. She has graduated from Diploma of Hospitality. So do you accept transfer credits from Ndis in Singapore?
So we have many partners. So we do have partners in Singapore too. And we do have, there are 2 ways of looking at it. So in terms of exemptions, you need to look at the subject areas to map it with our subject areas. So it depends on what a program you're applying for, firstly. So we can do that. We can map it and work out the credit exemption arrangements. But there are formal ways and there's informal ways of doing it. So the formal ways is where we have a partner that we have an articulation agreement with. MDS, unfortunately, we do not have a formal articulation arrangement. However, we can still look at it by students applying to us. And there are many universities that do that we do not have formal arrangements, but we have we put it to the school, and they assess it based on the subjects and based on the program that you're applying for. So, for example, if you're applying for you've done a business a year at MDIS and you're applying for a Bachelor of Business, we look at the subject areas to make sure it matches. So it's a match. It's a subject by subject mapping. And also we also look at whether the institution is accredited. So look at the quality of the university. Not all universities are equivalent to an Australian degree. So we look at that also, the quality of the institution, the subjects they study, and then we provide you with an assessment of whether the student makes it to whatever subject, whatever level in terms of exemption.
Yeah, the course outline. So he also have another question regards to the same students. Do we review the source of income of the student, and do you have exemption for the region where the student is coming from, because the student has been refused Canadian visa in the last 2 years?
Okay, so
yeah, it's more to the GTE.
More to GTE, okay, cool. That's good. So how it works with GTE is we are a level 1 university for GTE. So so in terms of GTE, we do have stringent processes, but our processes depends on the country they're from. So like for example, if you're coming from South Asia, it depends. We do have a higher because it's a GTE 3. If you're coming from certain other countries, we have your GT1. So that, and onshore, for example, is another one that we don't request for GT financials. We do have a form that students have to fill in, but it really depends on which level of country they're from. And based on that, we will advise the level of stringency in terms of what we require. But the great thing about Western Sydney is we are level 1 university. So we do tend to have not as stringent as we used to. We used to have a very stringent process because we used to be level 2, but now we moved to level 1. And if it's a level 1 to level 1, it's generally quite straightforward, only a GT form, a basic GT form. If it's a level 3 to us, then we do depend. So we do give authority to some agents to have authorization to be able to look at GTE, and so we do have certain processes that we look at. So it does depend on the country, and it also depends on the agent.
Yeah. So if you, David, if you submit the application to us, we can help you guys look at the student background as well as their academic and also the financial background as well. and give the best advice to your students.
And
Because
another
like,
thing also,
yeah.
another thing Ivy, also to add on that is we do have an in-country representative, so we have a recruitment manager.
Yeah.
So she basically also has the responsibility to screen GT. So we do have them, and it takes in Vietnam, for example, you do know that you got the main cities and you also got the regional cities. So the regional cities do tend to be a little bit more riskier. So we do tend to be a little bit more careful and in terms of assessing GT from certain cities. So that's something that also we do take into account. We do not accept in certain cities applications. That's one of our processes. But basically, our recruitment manager does have responsibility to also assess and screen a GT. So she will work with the agent to make sure that the quality of the applicant is up there.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I just want to ask, since you mentioned about the representative here in Vietnam, in terms of like those applications that you need to further assess, would you like say interview the student on Skype or like in person? Let's say if you want to know more about the students.
I think we don't do it for straightforward applications, like, obviously applications coming from the Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, Da Nang. We generally don't do that, but we do tend to be a little bit more particular if it's coming from, like, for example, from Haiphong. So we may look at a little bit more certain riskier cities. So we do tend to be a little bit more risky, and it depends on the recruitment manager, our in-country representative, whether she wants to take it to that level of interview. She may not, she may. So we're not sure yet, but it all depends on her assessment. And if she feels it's deemed that she needs to at least do an interview to be comfortable enough to accept the application. So that is something that we give our local representatives to do. So she has that responsibility to make sure that the quality, as long as the quality. So she basically decides. So it really depends on her. If she says yes, the application goes through, and our assessors will base the confirmation based on her advice.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So in the meantime, if you have any question, please feel free to type in the Q&A box. So I have another question. So far, how long? I'm just wondering, how long have you been working with Western Sydney?
About almost 2.5 years now.
Oh, okay. So I'm curious about the Vietnamese student application. Do you have any like impressive application from Vietnam markets that like stuck in your mind that if you don't mind to share?
Yeah, I think generally a lot of students from gifted schools generally are the ones that are obviously really good quality ones. But we've also had some schools. It depends on the schools, but generally most of the Vietnamese students are really good quality in terms of quality. In terms of, we've never had many issues, but I think it all depends on the schools. I do have quite a number from Hanoi that I've particularly been impressed with. And also, obviously in Da Nang too. So, and also there's some schools in like Vinh or Haiphong that are come from really, notable schools, and we've been impressed with the quality. So so some people look at it as it's a risky city, but it's also, there are really good quality applicants coming from even those cities. So that's the reason why we tend to not close off.
Totally.
So we really base it on the local knowledge and the local management of trying to get students coming in, but also being very careful. So the balance, having that balance. But I've been very impressed with a lot of Hanoi applicants, especially the quality of schools in Hanoi, especially. Not to say that Ho Chi Minh is not as bad, but generally, from my personal opinion, I've been and I've visited quite a number of really notable schools, gifted schools that I've been very impressed with.
I also agree with you. Myself and Bo, we had a visit to some of our agents in Hanoi back in June, and we're really impressed by how well prepared the students that we have from our partner agents in Hanoi. Even the student, like you might know, students who attend high school, like year 12, year 11 or 12, they usually have like everything well prepared, like English and everything, IELTS. Even though for high school students, they are not required to have IELTS ready before they apply to study in Australia. But they have everything. So yeah, I'm really impressed. Yeah.
And also the quality of English. The other thing is also the quality, not only academic, but you also have to because I've been coming to Vietnam since 2008. So I've been a frequent visitor based on work, and I've seen the level of fluency. I've seen the level of competence in terms of language. The students are getting around the sevens. Before it was always a struggle to even reach 5.5 or 6. The kind of level of fluency. So I've seen that change, and I think it's all based on the fact that English language especially, has been a lot more competent and not only in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, it's also in smaller cities. So that's another thing that I've also noticed.
Yeah. So also speaking of how well prepared the English proficiency of the students from Vietnam is, do you reckon that if the students they studying online in Vietnam or in offshore, do you think they would require a certain level of English?
Sorry, can you say it again? I just missed that. I just got frozen. Can you say it again?
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of like English, so I think most of our students or agents, they think that in order to study online, the student would have to have like a certain level of English proficiency, so that they can follow up with the teachers, the professor, and be able to do like assignments and all that.
Yeah, so they do. I mean, they still have to meet. The main thing is they still have to meet our benchmark. So they need to have that. But generally, and we thought there might be some struggle and some support. But in terms of online, we do give extra support. So you can go through recorded sessions if you miss anything. So there are a little bit more support in terms of platform that we give. So we haven't found struggle. We actually found we're giving more support to be able to make sure that the student, we proactively make sure that the students are receiving what they need to make sure that they have that level of fluency and stuff like that. So in terms of that, I don't think it's been an issue. But yeah, we still make sure that students have to meet their benchmark. And if don't, then we'll give them the support of English, what is needed to be able to make sure they reach that benchmark.
Okay. So I see that we have another question. Yep. So I would like to know if the next intake in March with the student, if the students still studying online instead of face-to-face, the parents are concerned about the quality, and they tend to think it's not fair to pay the same amount as the face-to-face. So because the student don't have the real access to facilities. So is there any way that can soothe the parents in terms of this concern?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we're giving. I mean, one of the reasons why how we look at it is it's either you give a fee reduction, or you condense, instead of doing a full time, you're doing a shorter. So basically, the 2 units that you do would be much lower in terms of fees, and also on top of that, we're giving a higher scholarship. So the higher scholarships, if you look at, I'll give you an example. 2021, we're looking at giving a 3,000, 6,000 scholarship. Whereas this year, if you do that online mode, we're giving it 5,000 and 7,500. So we've increased the scholarship. So that equates to a higher reduction, and also a lower number of units that you study. So instead of paying 4 units, you're paying 2 units with a bigger scholarship. So we compensate that by reducing it, but we don't call it a fee reduction. We give it a more generous scholarship. So that reduces the fees. And to note, our fees are not on the high end. We are right in the midpoint end. Like our Master of Social Work, for example, is only 26. If you get a 7,500, we bring it down to 19,000. And if you look at 1 or 2 units, it's even more. So I think if you look at that in terms of calculation, it's actually quite good. So that's how we work. That's how we work in terms of our generosity and our support. But That's my take on it. But there are some universities that won't give a reduction, but we're giving through a scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in terms of the scholarship as well, I would like to emphasize the fact that Western Sydney is very generous in terms of like the scholarship, as you mentioned, and also the tuition fee as well. You like consider the location, like right in the area where a lot of like Vietnamese community is. Like you have access to everything, almost everything. So like in terms of the tuition fee, it's like a lot less than the other university in like around Sydney. So yeah, usually it's less than 30,000 Australian dollars per year, which is really
it's generally between 26 to about 31. That's generally okay. But you also have to remember this, Ivy. It's not only the fees, the scholarship does help and give that extra support, especially times like this. But you also have to remember that the Western region tends to be a little bit more affordable in terms of living costs. And I also put my slide up for our on-campus accommodation. You know, you're looking around $200 mark per week. And we are also looking at next year, we haven't brought this up yet, but we're looking at also bringing in a 50% scholarship for accommodation on campus. Not Parramatta, but we have on-campus accommodation across the region. So that's something that also we are looking at bringing in. And off-campus. So off-campus tends to be a lot more, also lower than living on campus. The conveniency of living on campus is great, but it's still affordable. But off-campus tends to be a little bit more affordable. So the further you live from the city, the rule of thumb is you're gonna get, you know, a little bit more lesser than the cost that you're gonna pay when you're living in the city. So that is also the location we are in. Does have the extra edge in terms of not only the fees, not only the generous scholarship, but also the living cost factor, which will make a difference, especially in Sydney. But also to note, Sydney is a great place to live in terms of opportunities for work. So part-time work, you are allowed 20 hours a week, and you know, say unlimited when during the holidays. So that also creates that extra, especially at times like this where things can be a little bit more difficult in terms of opportunities. But living in a bigger city does give you that advantage where there's more opportunities for work.
We have another question regarding the 2 units per semester. If they're taking online, would it take longer time to finish the course for the course in Australia for students?
Generally, it's the same time frame, but you're obviously doing less 2 subjects. So some students may do a little bit more overload depending on the course structure, but generally you're still completing within the time frame. But you're doing it, you know, obviously, you know, cutting down 2 units, which will help you with the duration of the other program. So you can maybe do 3 units in the following semester, which helps you in terms of, you know, not being able to compact 4 subjects. You can do 3 units, and you can maybe bring it down and you know, sparse the units across the 3 years. If you're looking at bringing it down to 2.5 years, it might be a little bit more tricky depending on the programs you're studying in, because there are some units that are core units, but what we feel is, you know, why wait? Start while you can, get a little bit more, and you know, you can start the blended learning with the hybrid and the face-to-face when it happens, rather than waiting and hoping things will open up, may not open up. So we try to get you into the studying mode and also help you in terms of the next duration that you have to complete the degree.
Yeah, and also I want to add into that as well, Ian. I think that in terms of like, instead of waiting now and then waiting until like the border open and then study face to face, where you like, okay, you might need to take like 4 units per semester. So why don't you study now instead of waiting, right? So because like you can't travel to Australia at the moment, so why don't take this time to like finish some units? 2 units is not too hard to study online, to be honest. If you have like a good grasp of English, then it should be doable. So instead of like wasting time like doing nothing, why don't start now, right?
And there's also no risk, because what we're doing is if you fail a unit, you don't have to pay for that unit. So we also giving that extra risk aversive kind of factor that you can still study. If you don't do well, you possibly can you can still repeat it the following semester without losing any units, and you don't need to pay for that unit. So we are also putting that factor in as a support or backup, so students can still take that risk, but not being having that safety net of still completing a degree, and if you're not completing, if you're not sure, if you don't like it, you can still not pay for that unit. So that's something that also we added into as a no risk factor. And why not do it? Just try it out and see how we go.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have any more questions, everyone, before we about to wrap up for today's session? Okay, just wait for a few more minutes. I also want to ask you in terms of the refund policy as well. What if the student they got their visa refusal if they study online for now, and they got their visa refusal after the border is open? How is it gonna go?
Well, so if they do need to pay a deposit, but we will give them a full refund if they don't get their visa through. So that's something that we also put. That's the reason why we say it's really no risk in studying online, because you really don't have, if you don't get your visa through, the university will fully refund your deposit. That's no problems at all.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it. That's pretty much for today. Anyone has any question, please feel free to send it to me. I will try my best to revert to you as soon as possible. And if you have any question about the procedure application, feel free to message me as well. I usually very active online. So yeah, I think that's it for today. After this webinar today, we will send all the information, the PPT, and also the recording to our partner agents. So please feel free to circulate it to your colleague who will not be able to make it for today. And thank you very much, Ian, for your very resourceful session today. And yeah, we'll see you, hopefully see you soon in person once the border opens.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your time. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Bye for now.